This is how I genuinely feel about haunted hotels. Hi everybody, welcome to Spooky Saturday with Sampai. I thought instead of moving on to the next house, I'd talk about this hotel that Tina used to work at that I went to a couple times. She worked graveyard shift there and it was pretty spooky, and it was kind of right between the two houses that I'm going to talk about. The first night that I went there, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I think she had told me a few stories about stuff that had happened there, and I was like, probably not, but I'll go and check it out. For the most part, I remember it being pretty uneventful. The first part, we were sitting in the office, she was kind of closing things up, and then she had to close things up in the back where the kitchen was. I also like to point out that this hotel is not like a haunted hotel. It just was a hotel that happened to be haunted. So in this particular hotel, you head back to the kitchen. There's a bar area. In it, right between, like, there's a small hallway between the actual kitchen and like dining area. In this little hallway, there's a chalk outline of a person. Supposedly someone actually did die in that spot, but I have no articles or anything to prove it. It could just be myth. So it kind of sets the mood for the area. Me being like 12 or 13 at the time was terrified out of my mind when I saw that. So we go back to the kitchen. We're gonna get a coffee and a soda. Everything's free for us. I got a coffee and I got a soda. Now the way this machine was, and nobody's here anymore. All the rooms are like slept in by this point and like nobody's here. This kitchen's completely empty. It's just Tina and me, and we're standing there. She's getting her coffee and I go and, put my cup up to the little pressy thing of a fountain drink machine, and I hear this Pachoo! And it goes all the way back, and I thought someone was gonna kill us from behind. And it turns out it was just the way the soda machine worked, but it freaked me out. And so I was already super jumpy. This kitchen was like really, really creepy. It was cold, it was kind of dark, even though I don't think it should have been, and it was kind of it set the mood for the rest of the night. We get our coffee and our soda and we head back to the desk area that we were. She was kind of in charge of the front desk if somebody came in, which wasn't very often. I was kind of sitting there for the most part, like drawing and actually writing stuff down in my journal. I can't find these journals to save the life of me where I wrote all this stuff down. Like I was writing literally like a play-by-play of what was going on, which was mostly nothing or just stupid things that I was thinking about. I go and sit back down and I have the urge to use the bathroom. So I don't really want to go. For whatever reason, someone's gonna kidnap me on the way to the bathroom, but Tina can't leave her spot, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just go. I go to the bathroom. It's this little hall. You walk out the door from the desk area that we were, and down this hall, and there's a bathroom on each side. And then there's a dead end. I go into the bathroom, and the feeling is just really bad in there. So I rush into the first stall, and I'm like, go, 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 go. I'm like freaking out this whole entire time for like no reason. I come out, and Tina's like, did you see her? And I'm like, did somebody come in? Did somebody come in? She goes on to explain, again, I don't know if this is true. Allegedly, the night when Tina was there, she was there. She was closing up, and one of the guys was there that really wasn't supposed to be there, but he needed to finish something up, so he decided to stay with Tina for a little bit. This guy who's not supposed to be there is there, and he's helping close things up, and Tina hears this commotion outside, and where this place was, there was a lot of stray dogs. They would literally eat cats alive, and the guests would commonly complain, there's cat pieces everywhere, can you maybe clean that up? Tina thought this is what was going on, and so she usually, throws the door open, get out of here, and then they'll run away. She went to do that, but for some reason felt like she shouldn't. The guy that was with her decided he would go and check. He kind of slowly opens the door. This lady was literally being stabbed to death outside, and they closed the door real quick and they called the police. I wound up running off, and she was kind of laying there dying. She, I guess, crawled her way into the bathroom and died there on the toilet. Allegedly, she still haunts there. Often will close the stall that she sits in. When it's not closed, you can see her reflection in the mirror. I had just gotten back from the bathroom, and you know, Tina's like, so did you see her? And I didn't know any of this. And I'm like, no, I didn't see anybody. She's like, did you use the first or the second stall? The first one, I just wanted to get out of there. And she's like, that's her stall. Like, the oppression that I felt when I was there, I was just like, she was so mad at me. I was on her toilet. I was freaked out and didn't use the bathroom the rest of the night. I was so scared. Last experience that I wound up having there was strange, and I didn't think it was paranormal when it happened. I'm sitting there, it's like 4 or so in the morning. I hear a couple of girls come in through the door. It goes ding when somebody comes in, so I look towards the desk. Tina hasn't moved an inch, so I'm like, maybe she can't hear them. Because you can hear them talking the whole way in there, like, oh, he's so great, talking like teenagers would. And I heard them go past the front desk, down the hall towards the bathroom, and make a turn. I kind of looked at Tina and like, hey, aren't you gonna help them out? She like looks back at me like, what are you talking about, you insane child? So I'm like, these 2 girls just walked in, they were talking, you didn't hear them? Like, they were very clearly having a conversation. I can remember bits and pieces of it, like, to this day. And she just looked like completely confused. I'm like, no, listen. They came past the front desk, they opened the door, came past the front desk, went down the hall and turned. And she goes, there's not a turn there. And I was like, no, there's a turn. I heard them turn. She's like, go look out. Go look out. Go look out there. Go look down the hall. There's no turn there. So I'm like, I gotta do it. Go. And look down the hall. And I'm like, ghosts are gonna get me. There's nothing down there. There's not a turn. The bathroom ends in a dead end. And so I'm sitting there like, I know I just heard these people. They came in, they were talking. I'm like looking all around, like, where did these people come from that I heard? I wound up actually seeing them or finding them, and Tina swears that nobody was there, so I was like, okay. I spent 2 nights there. The first one was the only eventful one. I don't remember anything happening the second time I went. Tina wound up picked up a ghost boy in her car. I only saw him like a couple times, and it was always through the reflection or from the corner of my eye, but he always kicked the back of the seat. One time where I'm sitting there and I'm, you know, trying to have a nice drive, just kicking on the back of my seat, and I'm like, stop it! And Tina yelled at me. She's like, don't yell at him, like he was my little brother or something. He's kicking my seat! And that was kind of crazy for me, and still kind of crazy to think now that that's the thing that actually happened to me. Like, a ghost was kicking the back of my seat, and I was just like, quit it!
And then the mother was just like, stop yelling at him! And you were just like, what?
I am your child! There's a couple things that I think were brought from that hotel home with us. A couple of those things I think triggered things that happened in the home. And there were several other things that supposedly happened in the hotel. Like, there was a nuclear power plant that had a problem at one time, and some hazmat guys had to go and do something. Apparently some of them, or all of them, one of them, there was some number of people that had died due to the toxins and whatever. One night, Tina was sitting in her office, and it was kind of before close, so there was still somebody at the desk. She was working in a separate, like, accounting office where they kept all the documents. And she was sitting in there and working, and there's this window there so that if need be, there's a guest out there, nobody at the desk, you can see, oh man, somebody's not doing their job. Whatever they cleaned this window with was not meant to clean windows. There's always these weird, like, you know, like bubble-like streaks all over the place, and that window was practically unusable, and it was tinted. It might have been a mirror on the other side, now that I'm thinking about it. So Tina's sitting there, she's doing her work, and she thinks she hears the door open, so she, like, looks toward the window, and this guy in a hazmat suit walks by, and she's like, there's no way that just happened. It's the streaks. It's gotta be the streaks. But then, like, she swore a guy in a hazmat suit. A guy in a hazmat suit. Why is that a thing that would happen? She wound up looking it up and found that people had died nearby due to that kind of, like, toxic chemicals that were there. One of the more crazy things that happened there. Another time, she walked into the kitchen and she was gonna go get a coffee or whatever. The big fridge in the back, it's a huge industrial fridge, opens up and stuff clatters, and so she's like, hopefully nobody broke in, but there's no doors back there, if I remember correctly. Or in and out is that one hallway. So she goes to investigate, sees that some poultry has fallen on the floor, as well as a big bowl from one of the, like, racks or whatever on top that they like, they pull stuff down to cook with.
Didn't break?
No, it was made of metal. She puts the bowl back, kind of like, I don't even know what to make of that, and leaves. Later, a rumor was started that a ghost threw some chicken at her face, and she's not sure how that happened, but a ghost threw chicken at her face.
I wish a ghost would throw chicken at my face. Unless it's raw, because
It was raw. The last story that I can remember from there, before she wound up leaving. One time, she went into the bathroom, and this particular time, the girl in the stall had it closed. And Tina didn't like when she couldn't see into there, so she kind of gently pushed it open. Of course, nothing was in there, and she's like, okay. She's a little more chill. She goes into her stall, goes to do her thing, and she hears, BAM! The stall door next to her just slammed shut, and she's like, she was like, she apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't like not being able to see in there. She goes and washes her hands. She sees the reflection. She just nopes right out of there. And the freaky experiences that happened to me at this hotel that Tina used to work at. It wasn't as eventful as other things that had happened in my life, but that was one of the more freaky things that had happened to me. Next video I'm thinking of making is going to be the house we moved in after that real bad house. A few things happened there, but none of them seemed as bad as the house before it, and maybe it was because the house before was so bad that nothing seemed too bad when we lived there. Like I said in a previous video, this house was like 2 neighborhoods down from the one that we had already lived in. It freaked us out because we still had to walk, or I still had to walk to pick up my siblings from school and walk down that street, and later I wound up just taking the long way because we couldn't do it anymore. The whole entire street that we used to live on was so bad. It seemed like every single person had a problem, but in this house it was like I was the only one having a problem on this street. So thank you for joining me this time on our Spooky Saturdays with Sampai, and I'll see you next time.